Hi guys, welcome back to Ride TV and welcome to the brand new Volvo C40. Now make sure you're watching this video like a hawk because I'm going to run you through some of the exterior and interior details and then I'm going to jump behind the wheel and take it for a first drive. The Volvo C40 is the first in a new line of cars from Volvo that will be sold exclusively as fully electric vehicles. It uses a 78 kilowatt-hour battery, which is good for a claimed range of up to 273 miles. As with pretty much all electric cars, it's fast. We have a motor on each axle and 402 horsepower and 487 pounds-foot of torque. 0 to 62 is done and dealt with in just 4.7 seconds. Of course, there are a number of charging methods available for the C40. The most obvious is the 11 kilowatt charger. What you do, plug it into the socket, just like you would your mobile phone. Now, on an 11 kilowatt charge, the C40 will go from 0 to 80% in around 11 hours. But the one you really want is the DC rapid charge. At a public charging station that offers 150 kilowatts, which is the maximum this car can charge, it can go from 0% to 80% in just 40 minutes. Or in other words, a quick McDonald's. Now, let's go and have a look at the design. Let's start our look at the design at the business end, the front. It's very recognisable as a Volvo, isn't it? You can see an awful lot of XC40 recharge in this, which is kind of the point because that's the car that this is based on. However, it's got a slightly different design in the front bumper. It's slightly cleaner, slightly more indented here as well, compared to the XC40. And then the big thing down the front are the Thor hammer headlights. Of course, I mention those in every single video that I do on a Volvo. However, these are different. So these have pixels in them. They have 84 pixels, which means that you can see everything on the road at night. And what it'll do is it'll pick out bits where an oncoming car is coming, so that car won't know that you've got your main beams on. However, for you, sat in the driver's seat, you're going to see everything. They are incredibly clever and also incredibly beautiful to behold. Down in the middle, we've got the blocked-in grille here, which is a signature of the fully electric Volvos. I imagine we'll be seeing that a lot more on many more fully electric Volvos to come. And it is just a really Scandi cool design down the front. I really like the way it's designed down here. It's very, very chic and very modern. It is when you go along the side that things start to get really different. Firstly, nice big 20-inch alloy wheels which work really well with this car. They look brilliant in the arches. From here forwards, it's still very recognisable XC40. You've got the indent here, but then as you move backwards, as we go backwards, it's here things start to get a little bit different. So the roofline, instead of going straight back and down, it slopes off, it tapers in a really nice way. And for a car of this size to have a coupe looking sleek design is a really cool thing. I love the way it just drops off here. You've got some beautiful lines which lead right into the back of the car. It is, however, round the back that's my favourite part of this C40, and it's the most recognisable change to this car over the XC40. You've got this incredible expanse of glass across here and these awesome looking fins back here which give it a really aggressive look. You've got a boot spoiler which runs the whole way along and is fixed. They're done without a rear windscreen wiper to make the design cleaner and crisper. And just look at these LED rear lights with the broken effect going up the top of the car. It's such a beautiful element of sculpture across here. Of course, there are no exhaust pipes across the back because it's fully electric. The Volvo designation here, you've got this really lovely crease straight through the middle of the boot lid as well. And it just looks amazing from the back. We've got the model designation, obviously C40, and as I've already mentioned, recharged twin because twin motors and all that. Now, before we jump inside, let me just quickly run you through the boot space on offer. You would expect the sloping boot line to really eat into the space on offer. However, it doesn't really take that much away from the C40. It still has a very usable 413 litres, which is made even easier to use by the large, flat, low bay.
The back of the C40 is actually really spacious. You'd expect a car like this with a sloping roof line to lose a lot of headroom and a lot of space, but it doesn't. There's plenty of room here. I mean, if you're over 6 foot, you might start to hit your head a little bit, but for most people, it's going to be really usable. There's loads of knee room in front of me, and then the glass sunroof brings in so much light. A lot of the time, you do feel quite claustrophobic in more coupe design cars. However, in this, not even slightly. There is acres of room back here. But now, let's dive straight forwards into the driver's seat. Inside the C40 is very recognisable as Volvo. It's very similar to the XC40 on which it's based. However, it just feels a little bit more upmarket, a bit classier. It feels, I don't know, it's hard to describe considering it's so similar. It just feels lovely. All the materials and things that you touch in here feel very high quality. And now, this car is actually 100% leather free. So the seats are this really nice mix of Alcantara and this almost leather feeling material. It's not leather, but it feels like leather. Really like that. In the center, we've got a 9-inch vertical infotainment screen. Now this runs through Google, so it's very responsive. The maps are brilliant. It gives you up-to-date traffic information. However, for you Apple users, don't worry, there is an over-the-air update coming with Apple CarPlay as well. All the controls for the air conditioning and so on are all done on the screen in the center as well. So you just click the button and go through. You can set it to auto as well, and the car actually does a very, very good job of determining the temperature that it wants to be at. Heated steering wheel is always lovely, heated seats as well, all the creature comforts that you'd ever want. We've also got a slightly different display directly in front of me. It's a bit newer, a bit crisper, looks really nice, gives you the battery level that you've got in the car, temperature, maps, speed, all the same stuff that you'd ever expect. We've got also this really lovely new ambient lighting in here. I really hope I can be able to show you this because it lights up and it almost looks like an Arctic camo sort of light at night. It looks incredible. The seating position is pretty much spot on. There's a decent view out the windows. The rear of the window is a little bit small, but you kind of expect that with a car like this. But overall, I love the interior design, the quality, the feel of this car is brilliant. So now, let's turn this thing on. There's actually no start button. All you do is put your foot on the brake and drop it into drive, and it'll go. Let's drop it into drive, and let's go for a spin. So, at the wheel of the Volvo C40, what's it like? Well, let's start with the obvious things. It's electric, so it's very quiet. Even though this has the big 20-inch alloy wheels, the road noise is actually very, very good. And on the motorway on the way over to here, it was really quiet. But we've come to expect that from electric cars. And the other thing we've come to expect is electric cars to be incredibly quick. And this is no exception. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've got twin motors, one on each axle. So we've got, in essence, four-wheel drive. We've got 402 horsepower and 487 pounds-foot of torque, which means that the 0 to 62 mile an hour sprint time is dealt with in 4.7 seconds. But it's not the figures that fascinate about electric cars, it's the way that it delivers them. So, we're now doing 20 miles an hour on a national speed limit zone. What I'm going to do is plant the throttle. Oh, the way it gets up onto its toes and picks up its feet and just decides, I'm going to get a shift on. For a car that is quite large and obviously quite heavy, the way it accelerates is just mighty, mighty impressive, as it is with pretty much all electric cars, to be honest. But then when you do get to some twisty stuff, it does feel pretty good. Obviously, it's not the last word in automotive agility. It's not a Lotus Emira. But for a car of this size and weight and stature, it's actually really impressive. You can actually really enjoy this around some nice little country B roads that we're on now. The ride is very comfortable, as I've already mentioned. Even though, as I say, it's riding on 20-inch alloy wheels, it's actually very, very comfortable. It soaks up all these horrible nasty bumps and ridges on these roads very, very well. Of course, because this is electric, we also have the regenerative brakes, which can pump the normally wasted kinetic energy of slowing down and spinning the wheels back into the batteries. So I'm going to take my foot off the brake now. In a lot of electric cars, it won't slow to a stop, whereas in this, it slows down really quite quickly and actually will come to a complete stop, which is actually really impressive. Proper one pedal drive. In a lot of electric cars, you have to actually touch the friction brake to completely come to a halt, but not in this. It will stop completely. I love the feel of the throttle pedal in this. It's really progressive and it's really easy to modulate how much throttle you want. In some electric cars, the throttle is either on or off, and that's pretty much it. Whereas in this, it's got a really nice pedal feel, really nice travel to it, so you can really choose how much of that 400 horsepower you really want to use at any given time. The steering's nice and light, so you really can have a lot of confidence. The visibility is really good. I mean, the back window could probably be a little bit bigger, but what do you expect in a car like this with a sloping roofline? All in all though, this thing drives so well. All I want to do is keep driving it. It's mighty impressive, and obviously, with it being electric, oh, you can never escape the immediacy, the instantaneous shove in the back of your head of those twin motors. It's really impressive, and I urge you to come and drive this car. So please use the link in the description of this video to book yourself a test drive with one of your Rybrook Volvo retailers, whichever's closest. But to sum up then, how would I sum up the C40? Well, to be entirely honest, the vast majority of the time it feels like an XC40, which is no bad thing, because the XC40 drives incredibly well. It's very easy to drive, it's very easy to live with, all the technology is fantastic. I think as an all-round stylish electric SUV kind of crossover, this is a really, really good option. So what are my final thoughts on the new Volvo C40? Well, if you're after an incredibly stylish, great to drive, brilliantly equipped, new electric SUV crossover, this is a fabulous option. I've really grown to like it, actually really, really like this car. So if you'd like any more information on the Volvo C40 or any Volvo for that matter, please use the link in the description of this video to contact any of our Rybrook Volvo retailers. Please make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you guys again very soon.